Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Troy from Cichlid Bros. In today's video, we're going to be doing a tour of all of our aquariums. We do a video like this maybe once every 6 months or so because we have so many things changing and upgrades happening. So we have a lot of new tanks and a lot of upgrades, and we'll show that today. If you're new to the channel, Cichlid Bros is myself and my two brothers, Quinn and Alec. My brother Quinn is a high school biology teacher and he has 4 classroom aquariums along with 2 in his apartment, so we'll start with him. And then we'll go into Alec's basement aquariums and setups. And then lastly, we're going to be coming here to check out my big aquariums down here in my basement. So make sure you stick around so you can see my tanks. Before we get started, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. And guys, let's dive right in.
Hey, what's up guys? Quinn here. So first we're going to show you the 4 aquariums in my classroom, and then we're going to move on to the 2 aquariums in my apartment. All right, so starting off here with the 75-gallon Central and South American show tank here. These are all predator cichlids. Starting with the convict cichlid right there in the middle. And you got Joker the Green Terror. And then the OG of Cichlid Bros, the Jack Dempsey cichlid. So these fish have done very well, especially with limited classroom access in the year of 2020 with the COVID pandemic. Currently I'm seeing these fish about 4 times a week. You can see the tank is doing very well. It's pretty clean right now. The Salvini is also in here. It's hiding there behind the main driftwood piece. So Joker the Green Terror has really grown in size. You can see the nuchal hump is getting quite large. It has quickly become the biggest fish in this aquarium. There's the Salvini for you guys. So I am contemplating a few changes in this tank, specifically the Salvini back here. The Salvini is a beautiful fish. However, it is uber aggressive. You can see it quite often chases the other fish around, trying to assert her dominance. So I am contemplating relocating the Salvini to another tank to give these other 3 more of a tranquil environment that they don't have to worry about the apex predator back here chasing them around constantly. So moving on here to the 29-gallon. 29-gallon is housing another Jack Dempsey. This is from the same gene pool as the Jack in the 75-gallon. I actually raised this fish up from just a tiny fry. And it is doing very well. It's growing quite well and it's actually pretty colored up for being in a pale substrate that it is. I still do have a leftover giant Danio in this tank. Surprisingly, it is doing fine with the one Jack Dempsey. So this will be the next project in the classroom, to redo this whole tank and get a much bigger tank, probably a 75-gallon. The plan is to probably get a few more Jack Dempseys along with maybe a couple fire mouths. Next, we're gonna move on to the 55-gallon tank. So we have Felix the flower horn here. She is an eating machine and she is quite large. So the biggest changes with this tank since the last time you saw it is you can see that it does have a bare substrate now. So I came into my classroom about a month ago and overnight the tank lost half of its water, and that half of the water wound up on my floor. So I did have a janitor have to come in and clean up my floor, and I did notice that there was a leak that you can see in this video. So I had to think on my toes, ran to the fish store, and had to get a brand new 55-gallon. But flower horns can do just fine in a bare bottom substrate, and it's a little bit easier to clean up the detritus. She does produce a lot of that with how much she eats. And lastly, we'll move on to the 20 long, where I'm housing a Thunderbolt crayfish. So he is the sole inhabitant of this tank and is doing quite well. You can see he's eating an algae wafer there. So it is still just a juvenile, but I'm really looking forward to seeing this guy grow and become even more colorful. So overall, these 4 tanks are doing quite well. Love the look of them in my classroom. Take a step back here and see all 4. So I'm really excited for when I replace the 29 gallon with the 75 gallon. It's gonna look super sharp. Stay tuned for some updates on that. Should be coming rather soon. But now, let's head to my apartment. All right guys, now we're back in my apartment where we got the 60 gallon Planet aquarium and the 20 gallon Nano reef tank. So starting off with the 60 gallon Planet aquarium, this tank is doing absolutely phenomenal right now. All of the original fish are doing great. I have about 25 neon tetras, 10 Odessa barbs, and 6 Harlequin rasporas. You can see the CO2 running there. So overall, very happy with this tank's progression. We had to do some major trimming and renovations of this tank to get it looking like it is now. So if we move on now to the 20 gallon Nano reef tank. Our previous video last week was actually us showing the new coral that we added. You can see the hammer coral back here. We got an acan up here, another acan, and then a frog spawn right here. Maximus and Proximo are doing awesome in this tank. The fire shrimp is down below. The coral now has been here for 2 weeks, so it's doing great. You can see the hammer is very opened up, which is a great sign. So if you did not catch the video from last week, we'll leave a card in the upper corner again. I would highly recommend it. It's a big update for this tank, and I can't wait for what the future will hold. All right, so that's it for my tanks. Now let's head over to Alec's basement and see what's going on there.
Hey, what's up guys? Alec here. Welcome to the basement fish room. Just wanted to give you guys a quick tour and update on these tanks and show you how everything's doing.
Got 3 tanks set up in here. Got the one main show tank. This is a Predator Hap tank. It's been up and running for almost 13 months now. Fish are growing really quickly, looking great. We'll start with the biggest. All right, here's the Buconodo, pushing 7 inches. Looking great, get some nice color. Most colored up hap here. The Tangerine Tiger, looking fantastic. We got Lenny, the Livingstone Eye. Fusco, hiding in the shadows. He can be a jerk sometimes, but he's been nice lately. Malawi Hawk, Cyanochromis fryeri. We got the Lynchnochromis acuticeps, Malawi Gar, Chila tilapia, Euchylus, Malawi thick lips, Malawi eye biter back here behind the hawk. We got one of the bigger ones here. The Bucochromis rhodesii yellow, one of my favorites. This guy is an absolute beast. You see the black under his belly there and the fins, kind of is how the Bucochromis species display dominance. So he's kind of the tank boss right now. He can be quite the jerk as well. But overall, everybody's looking great, coloring up nicely, looking great. Love this tank. All right, moving on to the next tank, my newest tank, rimless 10 gallon planted aquarium. Got the Asta 20 light, lily pipes, jungle val in the back, clown killies, and crystal red shrimp. Kind of a unique tank setup. Got some Java moss and some Marimomo moss balls in here. That's kind of temporary, just until the shrimp grow up enough to feel comfortable taking these out, and then I'm gonna put a carpeting plant in the front here. Plan is to have the jungle val in the back, carpet in the front. So this tank's doing really well, filtered by a small Sun canister filter. Use remineralized RODI water. All right, then over here we got a quarantine tank with a new big Predator Hap that will be added to the 125 pretty soon.
Also, I got some pretty exciting new plans that you'll see shortly for this spot right here. So the quarantine tank will no longer be there. We're gonna replace it with a newer, bigger, possibly saltier tank. All right, let's head upstairs and check out my son's fish tanks in their bedroom. All right, here's my son, Kendrick, who just got home from his preschool Christmas party, and he's gonna tell us about his brother's tank. What do we got in there?
His name is Leo.
His name is Leo, named after the blue Ninja Turtle because it's a blue dragon beta. Pretty simple Fluval 2.6 gallon spec, all-in-one nano freshwater tank. All right, you ready to go show him your tank?
Yeah.
All right, so this one is in Kendrick's room. It's a 10 gallon. It's the first fish tank we had, and he wanted to get some glowfish. So that's what we have in there currently, as well as we might be rescaping this tank pretty soon and getting some new fish, aren't we, bud?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe
Dad's
some...
going to get me a new tank.
A new tank, yeah. Now you're talking. We just got to convince Mom, don't we? Possibilities are endless, aren't they, bud? Mm-hmm. All right. All right, that's all I got. And kick it over to my brother, Troy, to finish off the tour. See you later, guys.
Okay guys, so last but hopefully not least are my 4 basement aquariums. We're going to start with the big guy here, the 180 gallon South American cichlid tank. On the left is my 75 gallon tank, and on the right is my 180 gallon acrylic aquarium. This is primarily South American cichlids, and I try to set up a biotope aquarium here with driftwood, sand, rocks, and fake plants. I would have added live plants if my severums didn't shred everything I put into the tank, but I still love the natural look of this tank. I have 7 Geophagus tapajos, and this group has been doing very well. I've had them for almost 2 years now. I also have a true parrot cichlid, and he's the biggest in this aquarium. He has a lot of great color already, some light blue coming in. And then I also have one of my favorite all-time fish, the electric blue acara. And this is my Drupari Jerry. He's about 7 or 8 inches long now. He's grown a ton since I've had him. And then I have a turquoise severum. He's one of my 3 severums in this tank. And then here is my Oscar Nessie. It is growing like a weed. He obviously has a ton of personality, just love Oscars. Here's another one of my severums. This is my young red shoulder severum, who's just starting to get some awesome color. And then here's Big Red. He is another one of my severums and maybe my favorite fish I've ever kept. I also have a bala shark named Bruce. He is my one oddball fish in this aquarium of South American cichlids. And here's one of my more rare cichlids, the black acara. I don't show him very often, but overall this aquarium is just awesome. It's really my dream tank, and it's a really peaceful, fun tank to watch. Next, we have my 75 gallon aquarium. This has been running for a few years, but has some relatively new fish in here. First is my other electric blue acara. This guy was in my 180 for a little bit, but then I had to separate him from my other male electric blue acara. And then I have 4 Geophagus vini. I added these guys just recently. They were in the 38 gallon grow out tank and quarantine system, and now they're in here and they're loving life. They already have a ton of color for just a small fish, and once they grow into adults, they're really going to be a showstopper and one of the fish I'm most excited to keep moving forward. I also have a Nicaraguan or macaw cichlid in here. She is a beautiful fish already and has some great color, but is also very mean and aggressive to everyone else. I may need to relocate her to a different aquarium down the line, but for now the 75 gallon tank is doing really well, and I really enjoy this one too. And then here is my Waterbox tin cube. It is on my desk. This is where I edit my videos and also where I work from home during quarantine, so it's great to have a little aquarium here with an apistogramma, who's really my best friend every day, and it's really fun to have them right next to me while I'm working. There are some bubbles in this tank just because I just did a water change, but overall this apistogramma has some beautiful color. He really is my friend here every day and even feeds out on my fingers, which is pretty cool. And then my last aquarium down here in my basement is my 38 gallon. This has been through a ton of changes over the years as a grow out tank, a show tank, and now it's kind of my quarantine system where I have my chocolate cichlid Bigfoot. Bigfoot showed signs of internal parasites, so I was treating him for that, but he's been much better now. He's getting his color, he's eating aggressively, and he's just about ready to go into the 180 gallon aquarium for his permanent home. Okay guys, that does it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed seeing all of our different setups. As always, we have a lot of plans for expansion and upgrades, so make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already so you can follow along. And guys, we'll see you next week.